privilege to be here with you today. As I may say, a long-standing LGCM member, although mostly rather unactive in my support, so may I make amends for that today. Nelson Mandela has written memorably of his long walk to freedom. For those of us committed to the full inclusion of lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgendered persons within the churches, it seems to be a similarly long haul. While civil society, at least in Europe and other parts of the Western world, has taken major steps to affirm the legal and civil standing of LGBTs and to celebrate our place in public life, the Church, and I should say that I'm speaking here as an Anglican, seems racked with indecision, hostility, anxiety and compromise. LGBTs are made to feel that we are a problem, an embarrassment, a hindrance to the kingdom, a running sore that needs to be healed, or even, if one can speak of a positive evil that requires exorcism. Instead of the joyous, diverse, wounded but still singing children of God that we are, with unique gifts and stories to share. Given that radical shifts to a more welcoming and inclusive stance on the part of the church leaders and councils seem highly unlikely, at least in the short to mid-term, how do we resource ourselves for the long haul? This is the question I want to pursue with you this afternoon. It is a very real question for me, and I think for many of us, as we are engaged each in our different spheres, trying to move the listening process on, even trying to get some genuine listening and sharing going. Often painstakingly slowly, with great effort, and at considerable cost to those few who are prepared to speak honestly and openly about their lives. I want to explore the nature of a mature and liberative spirituality that will resource us for the long haul, and I want to see if I can identify some of its distinguishing marks. As I've pondered this question of what a spirituality for the long haul might look like, I found myself drawn towards the metaphor of standing. Yes, we might want to speak with Mandela of walking towards freedom, to consider ourselves on the move, but the reality for me feels frequently otherwise. At the very least, there is a huge tension between the immense strides that have been made in civil society in the past few years and a sense of paralysis, stalemate and standstill within the church, where, if anything, we might feel that we've moved backwards into greater invisibility, fear, and a certain hardening of the status quo. Is it just me, but I frequently feel that I inhabit dual universes, worlds that occasionally collide, but mostly do not touch. There is one world in which it is utterly unremarkable, even dare I say, potentially boring, to be gay, lesbian, bi or trans, in which we know our lives and others know them to be much the same as anyone else's, with their mix of humdrum up and downs and occasional moments of glory. And, by the way, LGBT Christians, it seems to me, are no more or less orthodox or radical, faithful or faithless than our heterosexual brothers and sisters. Except perhaps we might with justification say that simply to be Christian and LGBT requires a whole lot more faith than most straight Christians ever even have to think about. So that's the one world in which it's just normal, boring, unremarkable to be LGBT. Then there's that other world in which our sexual identities are a constantly spot-lit stigma, or, and often at the same time, an unmentionable taboo. Rather like cancer was, I think, a few decades ago, where people seemed scared to even mention it in case they might catch it.